Everybody. Okay, these are B-work instructions. B-work and A-work are very similar this time, but I have an announcement to make. If you are here and you are watching this video for the B-work and you have not read Station 11, stop, go back, go do A-work. You're doing A-work today because B-work is dependent on you having read Station 11, and you're not going to get as much out of it if you haven't read it. Yeah, that's what I have to say. I wish you had read Station 11. If you have read Station 11, you're awesome. You're doing great. You're in the right place. Okay, so B-work. Let's read these instructions. Oh, today we're talking about word choice. So word choice is always a weird thing to teach because there's no set skill for it, right? It's not like we can just ask, what's this character like? And we can ask it the same way every time. Why an author uses a certain word really depends on the context, right? Like, what are they trying to do? And how does that word help them to do that? And the only way that you get better at figuring out, like, why did the author use this word is to practice, practice, practice. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some practice. Another thing that you're going to see today, I just want to throw this out there, and I want to give it to B-work people because y'all are more advanced around the level. You're going to see the word satire show up a lot. Satire is, you may have heard this word before, but basically it's when you have something that you don't like, right? Like you see something in the world that you don't like and you want to represent it in a way that shows how ridiculous it is. So for example, Saturday Night Live or any kind of skit that you watch in which someone impersonates somebody else in a way that's making fun of them, that's satire. Just like really playing up the things that you think are ridiculous about another person or a group of people, and making fun of them by basically showing how ridiculous the things that they do are. So we're going to see a little bit of satire showing up throughout this story. Okay, instructions. Read the following excerpts from Reeling for the Empire. For each excerpt, I have identified the main idea and tone of the paragraph. For every highlighted word, you will explain how the word helps to achieve that main idea and tone. So let's read this first section. If you have not yet read the first half of Reeling for the Empire, stop, go back, read the first half of Reeling for the Empire, take your quiz on it. And now you can rejoin me. Section 1, we are all becoming reelers. This is very early in the story. I'll put it bluntly, we are all becoming reelers. Some kind of hybrid creature, part kaiko, silkworm, caterpillar, and part human female. Some of the older workers' faces are already quite covered with a coarse, white fur, but my face and thighs stayed smooth for 20 days. In fact, I've only just begun to grow white hair on my belly. During my first nights and days in the silk reeling factory, I was always shaking. I've never been a hysterical person, so I first misread these tremors as mere mood. I was in the clutches of a giddy sort of terror, I thought. Then the roiling feeling became solid. It was the thread, a color purling invisibly in my belly. Silk. Yards and yards of thin color would soon be extracted from me by the machine. Okay, so main idea and tone. I think there's a lot of tones here. There's a lot going on, but this is what I've settled on, and you are going to explain how the words that I've listed below contribute to this main idea and tone that I'm about to read to you. First, let's move because we need to plug in the laptop. There we go. Now we're not going to die. Okay. In this passage, Kitsune explains the horrifying bodily transformation that she and the other reelers are undergoing, but her tone is surprisingly calm, even scientific. The passage shows that Kitsune is observing her own trauma as an outsider. Perhaps this is the only way she can deal with what has happened to her. So, for each paragraph, I've highlighted 4 words, and for 2 of them, I have explained this is how this word helps contribute to the main idea and the tone that the author is working with. So, for example, we see the sentence up here. I'll put it bluntly, we are all becoming reelers. So I wanted to call attention to the word bluntly. And I wrote as a response how this connects, how this word choice helps the author build main idea and tone. Kitsune's use of the word bluntly shows that she is not going to shy away from what has happened to her. When people are highly emotional, they tend to explain things very plainly. However, Kitsune seems removed from what has happened to her, able to explain the situation bluntly rather than in a panicky, highly descriptive way. So if we're trying to show that the main idea and the tone are like one of scientific calmness and a sense of being removed as opposed to being terrified, and that's sort of a weird thing, this use of the word bluntly shows us exactly that. It's instead of being very descriptive, she's being very simple. She's like kind of saying it straightforward in the way that you might if you were, I know, a scientist or an outside observer who's not emotionally invested in it. And we'll figure out more how she really feels and why she's so strangely calm about this kind of horrific thing. We'll show that more as we move forward in the story. Then we have the same thing again. We have the words in fact. Again, this shows Kitsune's tone is more scientific, less emotional. She's describing something so horrifying, sprouting hair and becoming part silkworm, but she treats it as a cold fact. She clearly isn't happy with what has happened, but the emotions of fear and panic have deadened. So again, explaining how the word choice contributes to the main idea and tone up here. Okay, you will do this process as well for misread and for solid. Again, there's not really a right answer here, but I do want you to reveal that you're like being very thoughtful about these answers. Like, why does this word help us to build this idea, right? Try to put yourself in the author's brain. Okay, and then you will do the same process for 2 more paragraphs. Again, you'll be doing 6 responses total. And then when you're done with this, you will be at part 2. Part 2 is more of a response paragraph kind of thing. So instructions. Reeling for the Empire shows one way of responding to plague descending on the body. Below is a paragraph from Station 11. Read the paragraph and write a response paragraph or 2 that 1. Considers how Reeling for the Empire and Station 11, hold on, I should edit that. Sorry, I wrote this poorly. Read the paragraph and write a response paragraph or 2 that 1. Considers one way in which the authors represent plague similarly and one way in which the authors represent plague differently. So we see, you know, there's like plague going on in Reeling. There's like this kind of, you know, bodily strangeness and sickness and I know, abnormalcy that's happening in Reeling for the Empire. And then we have the Georgia flu in Station 11. How are these books and how are these authors thinking about plague in similar ways, and how are they thinking about them in different ways? That's the first thing that your paragraph should address. Second thing that they should address is paragraph or 2 that references word choice in both Reeling and Station to show how each work represents plague. So in your response paragraphs, I want you to reference some word choice that shows kind of like, you know, how plague is being referenced. So it should be easy for this one. And then you will choose your own word or couple of words to show how plague is being represented in Station 11. So I should be seeing textual evidence in these response paragraphs. I know that was kind of quick. Let me know if you have questions. I'm always happy to answer questions, but basically what you're doing is analyzing word choice. How does word choice, how does choosing specific words help an author build a sense of tone and a sense of main idea and give a worldview that's more specific than it might be if they had chosen other words. I wish you luck. I'm excited to see how you do. Word choice is such a fabulous tool in the author toolkit. If any of you are like, I know, thinking about being fiction writers or just thinking about being good readers, really paying attention to these individual words. I mean, like, that's what literature is made of, what distinguishes good writing from bad writing. So looking forward to seeing what you guys do with this. All right, talk to you later. Bye.